Welcome to this recording of A World Without Boundaries. This inspiring talk was originally delivered by Paramahansa Yogananda at a banquet at the Self-Realization Fellowship Second Temple in Los Angeles, California on February 26, 1939. We are honored to share his divine insights and timeless wisdom with you today. Wherever different minds meet in the spirit of fellowship, there we find a great harmony, peace, happiness, understanding, and cooperation in life's activities. With so many troubles plaguing this earth of ours, a miniature world war going on in Europe, nation tearing at nation, never before was there a greater necessity for peace than now. I believe there will always be wars, until perchance we all become so spiritual that by the evolution of our individual natures, we will make war unnecessary. No matter what their differences, if great minds such as Jesus, Krishna, Buddha, Muhammad sat together, they would never use the engines of science to try to destroy each other. Where there is understanding, peace reigns. Why must people feel it necessary to fight? The power of guns evokes no wisdom, nor has it ever accomplished lasting peace. War is like poison in the system. When we have toxins in our body, that impurity has to get out somehow. So we suffer from disease. Likewise, when there is too much selfishness in the international system, that poison breaks out in the world as the disease of war. Many people are killed, and then for a little while there is a lull. But war comes again, and will come again and again, so long as there is ignorance, and so long as the individual man has not become a perfect citizen of the world. God gave us intelligence, and He placed us in an environment where we must use that intelligence. The universe is like a shell, and we are like little chicks moving about within it. But what is beyond this shell of matter? What is beyond its three dimensions? We must penetrate space and know the workings of that other world out of which this one has come. We should use our intelligence to analyze the mysteries of life and to explore the secrets the Heavenly Father has hidden behind nature. How much better use of intelligence this would be than the creation of bigger and more destructive instruments of war. We must use our intelligence to have peace among ourselves. Why not follow a process of education in which, rather than nurturing hatred toward nations that are different from our own, we try by love to create understanding? Understanding is extremely necessary. But just as some people are short-sighted and some are far-sighted, so is our understanding. It is often clouded by many prejudices. Our vision is obscured from our very birth by the prejudices of family, race, and nation. Prejudice is a principal cause of war between brother nations. We shall never understand ourselves or others unless we keep our understanding free from all clouds of prejudice. We so love our own thoughts that we can't always understand what the other person is thinking. We are cooped up in a little pen of our own concepts, just like the little frog that lived in a well. When a frog from a huge lake fell into the well and told him about his vast home, the little frog only laughed and wouldn't believe him. He had never seen anything beyond the confines of the well and was thoroughly convinced that his home was the largest body of water there could possibly be. This is the limited attitude of nations as well as individuals. Each nation thinks its views are best. We have to learn to give unceasing understanding to all, even to those who misunderstand us. I give you an illustration. C can analyze D fairly well, so he thinks he can understand everybody else. But he knows nothing about B, who is sitting behind C and D, and thinks he understands both of them. And behind B is A, who sees B, C, and D, and therefore thinks he understands everyone. It is human nature to think we know better than anyone else, but the only way to truly know anything is by cultivating divine understanding. international understanding is much clouded by lack of realization that individual happiness is included in family happiness in community happiness in national happiness, and national happiness in international happiness. Love of family is inherently strong. Through family love, God became the Father to love you through wisdom, and He became the Mother because He wanted to give you unconditional love. God became the lover and the beloved to unite souls in an expanded love. He became the friend to unite souls in a pure, impersonal love that makes no demands. In friendship, there is no compulsion. It comes through the choice of the heart. Such friendship should exist between husband and wife, child and parent, in all human relations. Friendship is a great factor in bringing peace in the international family of the world. No one can love his nation without learning the first lesson in love, which is to love his family. The baby's initial cries are for milk, but soon it invests its love in the mother and father. Then, as it grows older, it learns to love its country. When that soul becomes Christ-like, it begins to love the world. You are a member of the worldwide human race. Don't forget it. You must love the world as you love your nation and your family. This is difficult to learn, but the task of Self-Realization Fellowship is to show you how. We teach that it is by fellowship with God that fellowship with man must be established. Because only when you know God and see Him in all can you love the Jew and Christian, Muslim and Hindu with the same spirit. I was taught this as a child, but it was more or less a forced intellectual concept. It wasn't an understanding from within. I tried to love the whole world, but it was not easy. As soon as I looked at my family, my love lost itself there. But one by one, many of those dearest to me died. I thought that nature was very cruel. Then I began to realize that my love was undergoing discipline, that I was to expand my love, not limit it to my family. God showed me that it was He whom I loved in my loved ones. Then, from within, my love began to expand to all. I could no longer feel partiality toward family. When I returned to India in 1935, I saw that this was true. Except for the love Father gave me, I felt like a stranger when I visited the family home. Therefore, through family life and then through national life, God is schooling every individual to understand His international family, that we may have a United States of the world with truth as our guide. International understanding dissolves divisive boundaries. We are all aliens here. No territory belongs permanently to any country. The hand of time eventually erases all nations. Their boundaries don't last because they represent divisions that have been carved out by force. I believe a time will come when in greater understanding we shall have no boundaries anymore. We shall call the earth our country, and we shall, by a process of justice and international assembly, distribute unselfishly the goods of the world according to the needs of the people. But equality cannot be established by force. It must come from the heart. The greatest blessing would be to develop international understanding by which we may realize this truth. These ideals should be taught in all the schools. Just as it would be a sin to teach everyone to love your family, it doesn't matter what happens to your country, so it is a sin to teach love of country that militates against your greater world family. When in every school love of country is overemphasized, it sows the seeds of misunderstanding and even hatred toward other nations. How dare we spoil children by teaching them the kind of patriotism in which there are seeds of hatred? Unless you love your country, you cannot love the world. But children should be taught also to love other countries as they love their own. That is the principle of God. Peace will come when we learn to see God in all. So you see, we must dissociate our wisdom from all environmental influences. If we can learn to understand others and to free our minds from all prejudices born of environment, we begin to express the perfect image of God within us and to find it in all. But as many as received him, to them gave he power to become the sons of God. The light of the sun falls equally on the diamond and the charcoal, but the diamond, by its transparency, reflects the sun more. Bhagavan Krishna taught that because the wisdom in man is covered by ignorance, and because man chooses to misuse his independence to nurture that ignorance, he doesn't reflect the true image of God that is within him. But in all those who use the power of the mind to be good, the power of spirit will manifest. If we can receive that power of spirit, then we become true sons of God. And we must learn to see the light of God falling on both his good and bad children. Peace will come when we discipline our hearts to see God in all, not just in those who love us or whom we think of as our own. Peace is not something that you and I or a few great souls can create at once. Even 1,000,000 Christs or Krishnas could not do it. Try as he would, Lord Krishna could not prevent the great war between the Pandavas and Kauravas, which is described in the Mahabharata. All humanity has to become Christ-like to bring peace on earth. When each one of us shapes his life according to the wisdom and example of a Christ, a Krishna, a Buddha, we can have peace here, not before. We must start now with ourselves. We should try to be like the divine ones who have come on earth again and again to show us the way. By our loving each other and keeping our understanding clear, as they taught and exemplified, peace can come. Each individual in a family and community should strive to live peacefully with others. Peace must begin in the home and in the schools. In the classrooms, we must teach international patriotism, to love the world as Jesus, Krishna, and the great masters have taught, and not to do anything that would lead to international discomfort. It is not our nationality or our color that we should be proud of, but our understanding. We should cultivate our understanding and use it to determine what is truly best for family happiness, national happiness, and international happiness. International happiness should include the well-being of the nation, the community, and the family. The standard of legislation should be merit, not color of skin or any other class distinction. These are the ideals to be taught to children. So long as God's children differentiate, we are Indians and you are Americans. We are Germans, you are English. So long will they be bound by delusion and the world divided. Much war and suffering and destruction will be prevented if we cease to emphasize differences and learn to love all without distinction or prejudice. Be more proud that you are made in the image of God than that you are of a certain nationality. For American and Indian and all the other nationalities are just outer coats, which in time will be discarded. But you are a child of God throughout eternity. Isn't it better to teach that ideal to your children? It is the only way to peace. Establish the true ideals of peace in the schools and live peace in your own life. Without selfishness, there would be no wars. If we analyze individual psychology, we find that all human beings are passing through one of 4 states. When a desire is fulfilled, we are happy. When a desire is contradicted, we are unhappy. Between these 2 states is indifference. We are neither happy nor unhappy. Beyond these 3 states is peace. If we can clear our understanding of all selfish prejudices, individual, family, national, we can reach that state of peace. Just think, if Hitler and other dictators and world aggressors had had no personal or national selfishness, how many wars would have been averted? I would like to see one qualified person attain to the presidency just for the sake of the country. Lincoln was such a one. I cannot think of him without thinking of his aspirations for all mankind. But most politicians seek office for their own advantage and the advantage of those communities and causes that are closest to them personally. The love of nation of a Lincoln or a Gandhi is based on wisdom. The ambitions of puny politicians do great harm against the permanency of this or any country. So patriotism must not bring wars and troubles in its wake. What is the value of a patriotism that destroys life, that kills innocent men, women, and children? War is supposed to show the nation's love of country, but that is not the right way to show it. The way to demonstrate true patriotism is to behave as children of God and to give divine understanding to all people. All they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Divine love is greater than the power of the sword. Greater than all the swords in the world is understanding. Today, the best country to live in is America. I am not saying this to flatter you, but because it is the truth. Here you have freedoms and material advantages and opportunities unknown in many other nations. Don't abuse those privileges and blessings. Remember that the only justification for life is to unravel the mysteries of this universe. The only justification for human existence is to find God. The Lord hopes you will learn to love the giver more than all his material gifts. Yoga meditation reveals our divine nature. Out of the cosmic tomes of truth, India developed the yoga system, the science of oneness, oneness of the soul with God, oneness with the principles of eternal righteousness, with the universe, and with all mankind. The sage Patanjali formulated the yoga system into 8 steps for achieving the goal. The joy of God can never be exhausted. He is sufficient, the purpose and the aim of existence. True understanding comes when we feel God as the great bliss of meditation, and peace is the first proof of his presence. To have peace, we must love more, but we cannot love people unconditionally unless we know God. The soul is absolutely perfect, but when identified with the body as ego, its expression becomes distorted by human imperfections. If human beings were only these imperfect bodies and minds, there would be some justification for prejudices and divisions. But we are all souls, made in God's image. So yoga teaches us to know the divine nature in ourselves and others. Through yoga meditation, we can know that we are God's. If everyone learns God communion, peace will reign. I believe that if every citizen in the world is taught to commune with God, not merely to know him intellectually, then peace can reign, not before. When by persistence in meditation you realize God through communion with him, your heart is prepared to embrace all humanity. I am neither a Hindu nor an American. Humanity is my race, and no one on earth can make me feel otherwise. Prejudice and exclusiveness are so childish. We are here for just a little while and then whisked away. We must remember only that we are children of God. I love all countries as I love my India, and my prayer to you is that you love all nations as you love America. God created a diverse world to teach you to forget your physical differences with other races, and from the debris of misunderstanding and prejudice to salvage your understanding and use it to make an effort to know him as our one Father. Therefore, my friends, resolve that you will love the world as your own nation, and that you will love your nation as you love your family. Through this understanding, you will help to establish a world family on the indestructible foundation of wisdom. Follow the ways of God. Set a time apart each day to meditate on him. When you commune with God, you shall feel toward everyone as toward your own. No one can ever make me feel he is not mine. All human beings are God's children, and he is my Father. Thank you for listening to this recording of A World Without Boundaries by Paramahansa Yogananda. May this message inspire you to embrace the spirit of unity, love, and understanding beyond all divisions. True peace begins within each of us, and by recognizing our shared divine nature, we can help create a world where harmony and wisdom prevail. Amen.